If you want to become a Flutter machine learning and AI expert, then subscribe to this channel and get 92% off coupons for our Flutter machine learning and AI courses. Links are given in the description. Do you want to use Google Gemini models in Flutter and build powerful AI-driven applications? Then welcome to this course. My name is Muhammad Hamza Asif and I am a mobile machine learning instructor at Udemy. And for the past 6 years, I am teaching use of machine learning and AI in Flutter to over 60,000 students. In this course, you will learn to use powerful Gemini models in Flutter and build this beautiful chatbot application. So, while building this application, you will learn to build a beautiful chat application UI in Flutter. And in that application, we are going to use text-only input feature of Gemini to pass our questions to Gemini models and get the response in Flutter. After that, you will learn to pass images to Gemini models along with your questions. And based upon the image and the question, the model will gonna return the response inside our application. And after dealing with text and images, you will learn to get output from Gemini models using streams. So it means that you will be able to get results from Gemini models as they are being generated. After that, you will learn to use chat feature of Gemini model to have long contextual conversations with Gemini inside Flutter. And after using different features of Gemini in Flutter, you will learn to combine some other exciting features with Gemini inside our application. So firstly, you will learn to implement speech-to-text feature inside our application to pass input to Gemini models using your voice. Tell me something about Amazon rainforest. After that, you will learn to implement text-to-speak feature to hear the response of Gemini models.
The Amazon rainforest, a vital ecosystem. Geography, largest tropical rainforest.
So, after completing this course, you will be able to use exciting features of Gemini inside Flutter. Similarly, you will be able to create chatbots for a variety of use cases in Flutter. Apart from that, you can enhance features of Gemini by combining them with other exciting features inside Flutter. The complete course is about 4 hours long and it includes all source code that we write in this course. Every section has before and after source code, so you can easily code along with me. Apart from that, you will get a certificate upon completion, which you can add to your resume. And the course comes with a 30 days money back guarantee. So if you are not satisfied, just simply ask for a refund. But one important question is, who can take this course? So if you are a beginner in Flutter or even an experienced Flutter professional, this course has something for you. So what are you waiting for? Join the course now and start building AI-driven applications in Flutter. Welcome to this lecture. In this lecture, we are going to start building our first Flutter application in which we are going to use the power of Google Gemini. So let's start. So the first step of building this application is creating a new Flutter project. So you need to open your Android Studio and here click on this new Flutter project button. After that, make sure that Flutter is selected here, then click next. And here you need to assign a name to your application. Like I will name it as Gemini. Similarly, you can type or use any name that you like. And here you can select your project location and then make sure that Kotlin and Swift are selected here so that we will be on the same page. And after that, you can select the platforms for which you want to build this application. So right now Android, iOS, Linux, macOS, web and Windows are selected. So we are going to select all of these. And then click on this create button and our new Flutter project will be created in just a minute. And there you can see our new Flutter project is created. And by default, the project contains the code of a default counter application. So to look at that application, we are going to launch this Flutter application inside an Android emulator. Similarly, if you got a Mac, then you can also install this Flutter application on an iOS emulator and look at that starter counter application. So here we need to firstly launch an Android emulator. So we are going to launch this Pixel 6 emulator. And once it's launched, then we are going to select that emulator here. Like there you can see Pixel 6 is selected, and then click on this run button and our application will be installed on this Android emulator. So let's wait for this installation to be completed. So now the application is installed inside the simulator, so let's increase the size of the simulator so that we can look at it clearly. And there you can notice that in this application we got this button at the bottom right corner. So when you will click on it, this count will gonna increase. So this is the default counter application which is present when you create a new Flutter project. And the code for this counter application is present inside this lib folder. So expand this lib folder and then open this main dot, and it contains the code for this counter application. But now after creating this new Flutter project, we are going to add a very simple GUI, and that GUI will be related to Google Gemini. So as we want to build an application where user can type his question and then click on send button, and upon clicking on that button we are going to pass the question of user to Google Gemini model and then show the results to the user on screen. So initially we are going to build a very simple GUI which will gonna have a simple text field where user can type his question, and then it will gonna have a send button so that user can click on it, and finally it will gonna have a text widget where we are going to show the results returned by the model. And later we are going to build a professional chat application like GUI, and we are also going to include number of exciting features inside this application. But initially we are going to build that very simple GUI, and to do that we need to make changes inside our main dot. So when you will scroll it, you will gonna notice that it contains a lot of comments. So as a first step, we are going to remove all of these comments so that our code will be clean. Like here, I will gonna start and remove this large comment. Similarly, remove the other comments as well. So now I have removed all the comments present inside this file. And after removing them, you can simply right click or control click on a Mac, and then you will see this option. So you need to select this reformat code with dot format, and it will gonna improve the spacing and formatting of your code. So now you can see our code is looking much better. And inside this code, this GUI is present inside our build method. So now we don't need this text and this button, so we can simply remove them. So inside our build method, you can see we got a scaffold and it contains this app bar, and this app bar is displaying this title Flutter demo homepage. And after that, in the body, we are firstly displaying this text, you have pushed the button this many times, and then we are displaying that count as well. So what we can do is to remove both of these text fields and then press Command S, and you will gonna notice that this text is gone. Similarly, to remove this button, we need to remove this floating action button. So just simply select it till the end of this comment and then remove it. Now press Command S again, and there you can see this button is gone as well. Similarly, if you want, we can also change this title. So to make the change, you can change this text here, this Flutter demo homepage. Like I will name it as Gemini. Similarly, you can type any text here. Now press Command S, and there you can see this text is changed as well. So now after removing the GUI related code, we need to remove the logic related code. So you can notice that a counter variable is declared here and we got this increment counter. So we need to remove both of these as well, and that's it. So now after doing this, we have cleaned up our starter application, and now we can build that very simple GUI for our Gemini application. And now we can build that very simple GUI for our Gemini application. So as a first step, we are going to add a text field where user can type his question. So inside our body, we got this column, and in this column widget, we are going to add a text field widget. So here type text field, and you will gonna notice this option for text field, so just select it. And after adding this text field widget here, you can simply press Command S. And now you can see in the middle of screen we got this line. So basically it is a text field where you can enter your question. Like when I will type it, you will be able to see the question here. So that's how we can simply add a text field inside our GUI. And after adding a text field, we need to set the controller for this text field, and using that controller we are going to get the text which user have entered inside this text field. So to pass this controller here, we are going to create a text editing controller object above. So above our build method, we are going to create this text editing controller. So you can see this option here, so select it. And we are going to name it simply controller. And after that, we are also going to initialize it here. So text editing controller, and that's it. So after declaring this controller here, we are going to set it inside our text field. So here you will find this option for controller, and we are going to pass our variable here, and that's it. So after setting this controller here, we can get the text which user entered inside this text field using this controller. Similarly, we can perform other operations like clear this text field and so on. But now after adding the text field, the second thing which we need is a button so that user can click on it and we can pass this text which user entered here to our model. So where we are going to add this button, and the ideal place for this button would be to the right of this text field, just like any other chat application. So here we are going to add a button. So to do that, we need to enclose this text field inside a row widget, and then in that row, firstly we will be displaying this text field, and secondly we will be displaying this button. So what you can do is to click on this text field, then press Alt plus Enter, and you will see this option wrap with row. So just select it, and now our text field is inside this row. So after enclosing this text field inside a row widget, now we can add our button. So to add this button, we are going to use an icon widget. So here you can type icon and you will see this option, so just select it. And now inside it we can specify any icon provided by Flutter, and to do that you need to use this icons class. So icons dot, and as we are looking for a send button, so I will gonna type the word send, and you can notice a lot of send buttons here. Like here I will gonna simply select this send button, and after that if you will press Command S, you will gonna notice that all the GUI is gone. And the reason is we cannot directly put text field inside a row widget. We need to enclose it inside an expanded widget so that it can take all available space, leaving the space for other widgets. So here you need to click on this text field and press Alt plus Enter, and then select this wrap with widget, and then type the name of the expanded widget, and it will gonna expand the text field to the available space. So after doing that, press Command S, and now you can see the GUI came back, and here we got this text field and then this send button, and this send button is this send icon which we just added. But right now user cannot click on this icon, or we cannot detect when the user have clicked on this icon. So to detect that click, we need to enclose this icon inside another widget, and that widget is called Inkwell. And using that widget, we can detect different gestures performed on this icon. So click on this icon and press Alt plus Enter, and then select this wrap with widget. And here we are going to type the name of our Inkwell widget. And once you will do that, then inside this Inkwell widget, you can access this on tap, on double tap, on long press, on tap down, and other methods. So you can detect any of these things when the user will gonna perform it on this icon. So here we are only interested in on tap. So here add this on tap method, and after that create the body of this method. And that's it. So basically whenever user will gonna click on this send button, this on tab method will be called, and here we can write the code for getting the text which user entered inside this text field, and then passing that text to our Gemini model, and after that getting the results. And after getting the results, we are going to show that result to the user on screen. But where on screen we are going to show these results? And the answer is we are going to add a text widget in the GUI where we are going to show the response of the model. So above our row widget, we are going to add a text widget. So let's simply format our code. So reformat code with dot format. And after that, above our row widget, we are going to add a text widget. And now in this text widget, we can display any text and it will be visible here on screen. Like I will type the text results. And after that, I will add a comma. Now press Command S. And you can notice this results text is visible here. But now we are not going to hard code the text here, but instead we are going to create a string variable, and in that variable we are going to store the results which we need to display. So here we are going to declare a variable of type string, and we are going to name it as results. And inside this variable we are going to store the text results to be shown here. And that's it. So after creating this variable, we are going to pass it inside this text widget. So here we are going to pass this results variable. And after that, press Command S. And you can see this text here. But right now you can notice that everything is in the center of screen. And the reason is we got everything inside this column widget and it is arranging them vertically. And then we have set the alignment for this column widget to the center, so it is showing everything in the center. But here we can change the alignment to something like space between or space evenly. So if we select this and press Command S, now you can see they are equally separated. Similarly, if we will type space between, now there will be maximum space between this text widget and this text field. So we are going to choose space evenly here. And that's it. So now after doing that, we have built the basic GUI for our application. And the next step is whenever user will gonna type the question here and click on the send button, we need to take this text and pass it to our Google Gemini model. And then we need to show the results here. So to do that, we are going to start the process inside our next lecture. So see you in the next lecture. Hello guys, Hamza here. I just want to let you know that this video is just the first part of my complete Flutter and Google Gemini build smart AI powered applications for Flutter course. The complete course is about 4 hours long and it includes all source code that we write in this course. Every section has before and after source code, so you can easily code along with me. Apart from that, you will get a certificate upon completion which you can add to your resume. And the course comes with a 30 days money back guarantee. So if you are not satisfied, just simply ask for a refund. So if you are interested, I will put a link down below and we are offering a discount to first 100 students. And now let's continue to the next lecture. Welcome to this lecture. So after creating a new Flutter project and building a very simple GUI for our Gemini application, the next step is passing questions of user to Google Gemini and getting the results here. So how we are going to do that? So to achieve that, we are going to use a package available on pub.dev. So basically we are going to add that package inside our Flutter project, and then using it we are going to use the features of Google Gemini. But apart from that, we are also going to cover the official documentation of Google Gemini, and you will learn each and everything which you need for building smart applications. So now let's start by opening a browser. And here you need to go to pub.dev. So in the search bar type pub.dev and press enter. And it will gonna open this website which is the official package repository for Dot and Flutter apps. So here you can find packages related to Flutter and Dot. And we are looking for Gemini related packages, so I will gonna type Gemini and press enter. And now you can see the results. And here the second result is this Flutter Gemini package. So it is the most popular package available till this point, and it is also reliable. So we are going to use this package. So click on it and the documentation page will be opened. And here you will find the instructions for using Google Gemini inside our application. But the first step is installing this library inside our Flutter application. So click on this installing section and you will find this dependency which you need to add inside your project for using this package inside Flutter. So just simply copy this line and open your Android Studio. And here you need to open this pubspec.yaml file, and here scroll down and find this dependency section. And there below this icons dependency, simply paste the line and then click on this pubget, and this library will be downloaded and added inside our project. And there you can see the library is downloaded and it is added inside our project. And after adding the library, open the documentation page and here go to this readme section. And there you will find the instructions for using this package inside our application. And we are going to explore each and everything which is available here. And we are going to start from this getting started section. So to use Google Gemini API, you need an API key. So if you don't already have one, create a key in Google AI Studio. So the first step of using Google Gemini inside our Flutter application is getting an API key. And to get that API key, you need to go to Google AI Studio. So what you can do is to simply click on this link and open it inside a new tab. Or you can also directly type Google AI Studio inside your browser. Like here, I have opened this link and this is this ai.google.dev. And here when you will scroll down, you will gonna find this button Get API Key in Google AI Studio. So click on it and it will gonna take you to a new page. So upon clicking on this link, it shifted me to this aistudio.google.com. So this is basically Google AI Studio. And here you can create API keys for using Google Gemini inside your applications. Similarly, there are other things or tools using which you can test the API as well. Like there you can see at start it is showing us this dialog that create a new prompt or get an API key. So we are going to close this dialog because maybe in your case you will not be able to see it. And here remember that I have logged in inside this Google AI Studio using my Gmail account. So you need to attach your account here as well. So now once you will be inside this Google AI Studio, you need to click on this Get API Key button. And it will gonna show you this screen. And there you will find this Create API Key. So click on it. And then it will gonna show you these safety settings. So click on this Got It. And then you will see this dialog. So here to create a new API key, you need to create a project inside Google Cloud. Similarly, if you are already using the services of Google or Firebase, then you can also select a project here and then get an API key. But if you are using it for the first time, then you can click on this Create API Key in a new project button. And after that, it will gonna create a new project for you and you will be able to see a key here. But in my case, my quota is over, so I cannot do that. So I will gonna click here and search for an existing project. Like I will gonna select this first project and after that click on this Create API Key in existing project button. And then it will gonna generate an API key for me, and there you can see this API key. So this is my API key, and in your case you need to create your own. And once you will get this API key, just simply copy this API key because we are going to use it inside our Flutter application. So here inside our application, go to main dot dot, and above this build method you can simply paste this key as a comment, and in a moment we are going to use this API key. But now at this point we have added a package inside our Flutter application, and then we got this API key for Google Gemini. And now the next step is going to our Flutter Gemini package page, and here the next step is initializing Gemini. So to initialize Google Gemini, you must call the init constructor for Flutter Gemini in the main function. So basically in your main function, you need to call this gemini.init and pass your API key here. And it will gonna connect your Flutter application with Google Gemini models. So let's simply copy this line and then open our application. And here scroll to the top where we got our main method. And above our main method, we are going to paste it. And after that you need to import this Gemini library, so click on it and press Alt plus Enter, and you will see this option import library. So import this Flutter Gemini library here, and now you need to copy this API key which you put here. So I will gonna simply copy it, and then you need to replace this text with this key, and that's it. So now after doing that, our project will be connected with Google Gemini, or in other words, we can pass questions to Google Gemini models from our Flutter applications and get the response. Welcome to this lecture. So now after connecting our Flutter application with Google Gemini, the next step is passing our questions to Google Gemini models and getting the results. So how we are going to do that? And the answer is on the documentation page of the package which we are using. So here you can notice that after initializing our Gemini, the next step is content-based APIs. So here you will find the instructions for passing your questions to Google Gemini and getting the results. But there are multiple ways in which you can get the response from Google Gemini. Like here, the first one is getting the response in the form of stream. So it means that when we are passing questions to Google Gemini and it is returning the response, we can also get that complete response at once, or we can also get that response as it is being generated. Like there you can see in this video, when this question will be passed to Google Gemini, the response is being displayed as it is being generated. So we can also get that response in this particular manner, or we can also get the complete response. So firstly, we are going to get the complete response, and later we are also going to explore this stream generate content. So here scroll down and you will find this text only input section. So this feature lets you perform NLP tasks such as text completion and summarization. Or in other words, we are going to pass our question to Gemini model using this Gemini.text method. And after that, in this then block, we are going to get the complete response at once. So to use this code inside our application, just simply copy it and then open our application. And here inside our application, once user will gonna type his question here and click on the send button, we need to pass that question to our Gemini model. So what we are going to do is to create a method below our build method, or you can also create it above this build method. So let's create it here, and we are going to name it process input. And after that, inside this method, we are going to paste the code that we copied. And now we are going to call this process input method once user will gonna click on the send button. Like here, we are going to call this process input method. And that's it. So now if you are going to completely install the application inside this Android emulator again, and then without typing any question click on the send button, then this process input method will be executed, and inside it we will be passing this text, write a story about a magic backpack, to our Gemini model. And then our model will gonna generate a response, and we are going to show that response inside our console. But in our case, we don't want to pass this text to our model, but instead we want to pass the text which user entered inside this text field. So here what you can do is to replace this text with this controller, and this is the controller which we passed inside our text field. And then to get the text which user entered inside this text field, we are going to use this text property. And that's it. So now when the user will gonna click on this button, the text which user entered here in this text field will be passed to our Gemini model, and we are going to get that response here and show it to the user on console. And to test the behavior of our application, simply click on this top main ... and then install the application again inside this Android emulator. And if you are using a Mac, then you can also install this application inside an iOS emulator and test the working of our current application. So now the application is installed again, so let's type a question. Write a story about a jungle. And after that, let's click on the send button. And now check this run section here. And there you can see in the run section we got this text, And this is basically a story written by Google Gemini model about jungle. Similarly, let's type another question like which day of week is today? And now click on this button again. And after that, scroll to the bottom of your run section. And there you can see this response. Today is Friday, March 3, 2023. Although this information is not correct because the model does not have a knowledge of real world and its cutoff time is 2023. Or in other words, the model is trained on a dataset till 2023 and it does not reply you about real-time information. But here we have confirmed one thing, that we are successfully able to pass our questions to Google Gemini models and then show the results inside our console. And now the next step is, instead of showing the response in the console, we are going to show it to the user on screen. So now after passing our questions to Google Gemini model and getting the response, it's time to show that response to the user on screen. And to do that, we are going to make some changes here. Like here you can see, once we are calling this Gemini.text and passing our text, our question will be passed to Google Gemini model. And then inside this then callback, we are going to get the response once it is being returned by the model. And in case of any error, this own error block or catch error block will be executed. And here we are printing the error message. But now here, after getting the response, we don't want to show it in the console, but instead we want to show it inside our text widget. So to do that, here let's add a body for this function. So here we can remove this lambda expression and add these curly braces. And then we can move this line inside these curly braces. So I will gonna cut it and then add it inside these braces. And then add a semicolon, and that's it. So this thing is equivalent to the previous thing which we had. But now we want to show this text to the user on screen. And to do that, we are going to store our results inside our results variable. So results, and we are going to set it to this value.output. So value, and then use this output property. And there you can see we are getting an error here, and the reason for this error is this value is nullable but our results variable is not. So here what you can do is to add a not null insertion, that this output variable will not be null, and similarly you can do the same for this value object. Or the other way is to add the if condition above, that if the value is not null and the value.output is not null, only in that case we are going to perform these operations. So these are two ways. But now we are getting the output returned by the model and assigning it to this result variable. And after that we need to call the setState block and pass our results variable inside it. And we are doing this so that wherever this results variable is being used, the changes will apply. And we are using this results variable here inside our GUI. So now in short terms, when the user will gonna pass his question here and click on the send button, we are going to pass that question to our Google Gemini model here. And after that, this then callback will be executed with the results. So here we are getting that result and assigning it to our result variable. And then we are calling the setState block so that wherever this results variable is being used, the changes will apply. So as we are using this variable in the GUI, so this portion will be updated and we will be able to see the result here. So click on this run main dot dot and test the behavior of our application. So now our application is installed again, so let's test it. So here let's type a question. So my question is, explain biggest problem of today's world in 3 lines. So let's send it. And there you can see we got the response here. Climate change, economic inequality and political division stands as the most pressing challenges of modern world. Or in other words, we got the correct response here. Similarly, you can type any question here and you will be able to see the response from the Gemini model here inside our application. So now we have completed a very basic Google Gemini Flutter application in which user can pass his question to Gemini and get the response. Hello guys, Hamza here. I just want to let you know that this video is just the first part of my complete Flutter and Google Gemini build smart AI powered applications for Flutter course. The complete course is about 4 hours long and it includes all source code that we write in this course. Every section has before and after source code so you can easily code along with me. Apart from that, you will get a certificate upon completion which you can add to your resume, and the course comes with a 30 days money back guarantee. So if you are not satisfied, just simply ask for a refund. So if you are interested, I will put a link down below and we are offering a discount to first 100 students. And now let's continue to the next lecture. Welcome to this lecture. So till this point inside our application, we are passing questions of user to our Gemini models and then getting the response. After that, we are showing that response to the user on screen. But we are achieving that using a package called Flutter Gemini. But you will be amazed to know that there is an official package developed by Google to integrate Gemini models inside our Flutter applications. But we are using this package because of its advantages. But if you want to use the official package, this course will also going to guide you. So this lecture is only for those who are interested in official package. Otherwise you can simply skip this lecture because from the next lecture we will gonna start working on the GUI of this application and then later we are still going to use this package. So this is an optional lecture in which we are going to achieve the same functionality but using the official package. So let's start. So the first step is opening the page where we generated our API key. So I am inside our AI Google Studio or Google AI Studio and here we generated our key. And now in the side pane you can right click on this documentation and open it inside a new tab. So here you can see the documentation is open and when you will scroll down, you will gonna find the documentation for different platforms. Like we got Flutter here as well. So click on this get started with .flutter. And there you can see this screen is opened and here you will find the instructions for integrating Google Gemini inside Flutter using the official package. And there the first step is setting up your API key. So we already generated our API key so we can simply skip this lecture. And after that the next thing is installing the Flutter package. So the official package is named as Google Generative AI. So to add it, you can either open it on pub.dev or you can directly add it inside your project. Like here, you can select this Flutter tab and then copy this command. After that, open our application and go to the terminal. And then you can simply paste the command that you copied and then press enter. And there you can see this command will gonna add this Google Generative AI package inside our application. So when you will open this pubspec.yml, you can see this package is added. After that, open the documentation page and scroll down. So now here the next step is using that API key for creating an object of type generative model. And then using this model object, we are going to pass input to our Gemini models and get the output. So basically what you need to do is to simply copy this line where we are creating this generative model object. Then open our Flutter application. And here above our process input method, we are going to add an init state method. So type init state and you will be able to see an option for adding this method. And if not, then you can simply add this method here like that. And then inside this method add this super.init state and above this method add this override annotation and that's it. So basically this init state method is the first method which is called once our application is launched. So inside this method we can do the initialization related stuff. So right now we are going to paste the line that we copied inside this method. And after that we need to import the library that we just added. So import this library Google Generative AI and this error will be gone. So here we are calling the constructor of generative model, and inside it we need to pass the model name and the API key. So here we got our API key, so you can simply copy it and add it here as a string. And after that, the second thing is the model name. So here we are going to specify the model name Gemini Pro. And later we are also going to explore the other models provided by Google Gemini and use them. So type Gemini Pro, and that's it. So here we are declaring and initializing this generative model object, but we need to declare this model object outside of this init state so that we can access it inside our process input. So here we are going to declare it with the await keyword, and the data type would be generative model, and we are going to name it as model. And now we can remove this initialization from here, and that's it. So here we are declaring our generative model and initializing it here. And now inside our process input, instead of using our other library, we are going to use the official package for performing that thing. So to do that, open the documentation page and scroll down, and there you can see the features of Google Gemini. So earlier, using our Flutter Gemini package, we have used the text only input feature of Google Gemini, which means that we are passing text to our model and getting the response. Similarly, here in the official package, the first thing is generate text from text only input. So it is exactly the same thing. So the same thing which we achieved using the other package is present here. So here, if you will read carefully, the first step is actually getting the API key. But as we got the API key directly, so we can ignore this stuff. So basically they are saying that instead of passing the API key directly, you can get the API key or use the API key using environment variables. And we can look at it later. But once you will get the API key, you need to create or initialize this generative model object, and we have just did that. And after that, you need to get the question which you want to pass to the model, and then you need to convert that question into this array object. And after that, using this model.generate content, you are going to pass this content object here and get the response from the model. And then we are showing that response to the user. So now to achieve the same thing, you can simply copy these 3 lines and then open our application. And here inside our process input, you can simply select all the code and comment it. So press Ctrl// and the code will be commented. And now paste the code that we copied. So here, once we will paste that, you will see this error that this content is actually present inside multiple libraries. So basically it is present inside Flutter Gemini and also inside Google Generative AI. So here what we need to do is to import our generative AI library and assign a alias to it. Like here I will assign the alias GAI. And now wherever we want to use this library, we need to use this keyword before. Like here we are declaring this object, so before that we need to use this GAI dot. And then we need to do the same here. And this thing is only to avoid that error. So here we need to use this GI as well. And now you can see the error for this content is gone. Similarly, you can see now there is only one error, and that is because of this await keyword. So we need to make our process input asynchronous, and this error will be gone. So basically inside this code, we are firstly creating a content object, and there we need to pass our question. So in our case, the question will be present inside our text field. So we can get it using this controller.text. And after that, we are passing this content to the generate content method of this model object. So basically we are using this model and calling its method and passing this content object. So now this thing will gonna pass this question to our model, and it will gonna pass it to this Gemini Pro, and then we are going to get the response. And after getting the response, we are showing it in the console. But in our case, we want to show it to the user on screen, so we are going to assign the result to our results variable. So here use this response.text and then add a null insertion. Similarly here, you can add an if condition to check that this value is not null, and then you can avoid this not null insertion. So now after doing that, we need to call this set state block. So set state and pass our result object here. And that's it. So now after making these changes, you can simply click on this top main dot and after that install the application again, and this time our application will gonna work in the same way as it was working before. The only difference would be we will be using the official package provided by Google Gemini for integrating Gemini models inside our Flutter applications. So now our application is installed again. So here let's test it by writing a question. And my question will be, tell me a beef burger recipe in 5 lines. Now let's send this question. And there you can see we got the response from the model, which is a 5-step process to create beef burgers. And this time we are using the official package provided by Google Gemini. Similarly, later in this course, we are going to use Flutter Gemini package to use other features of Google Gemini. So if you want to go with the official package, then you can also use these instructions present on this page as an assignment. Like you can follow this course using this Flutter Gemini package, but as an assignment, then you can replicate those things using the official package. Like here you can see after generating text, we are going to generate text from text and image input. So we are going to achieve this thing using Flutter Gemini, but you can do the same thing using official package. And after that there is this multi-turn conversation. So we are going to do that using Flutter Gemini, but as an assignment you can do it using official package. But the things will be same using either of the package. Similarly, we got this streaming related thing. So we are going to get the response as streams using Flutter Gemini, but you can do the same using the official package. But now we are going to comment the code related to this generative model package because we are going to use Flutter Gemini. So here firstly we are going to comment the declaration and initialization of this generative model. After that, inside our process input, we are going to comment this section where we are using this package, and then we are going to uncomment the section where we are using Flutter Gemini package. And apart from that, we don't need to make any change in this application code. So now you can simply click on this run main dot and the application will be installed again, and then we can confirm that our application is working or not using Flutter Gemini. So here I will simply going to write hello and send this question or send this text. And there you can see the response, hi there, how may I assist you today? So now in this lecture we have explored the official package available for Flutter Gemini. If you want to become a Flutter machine learning and AI expert, then subscribe to this channel and get 92% off coupons for our Flutter machine learning and AI courses. Links are given in the description. Welcome to this lecture. In this lecture, we are going to explore some other features of this Google AI Studio. So here we have firstly generated our API key using which we connected our Flutter application with Gemini models. But there you can notice some other sections, and now we are going to explore one of these, and that is this prompt gallery. So here what you can do is to right click on this prompt gallery and open it inside a new tab. So now you can see this page is open and it is the home page for prompt gallery. So prompt gallery is there in Google AI Studio to show you some examples regarding the features of Gemini Models API. So when you will scroll down, you can see that it is actually providing you a number of examples to use Google Gemini API. Like there you can see this recipe creator. So when I will right click and open it inside a new tab, you will gonna notice that it is providing us an example that how we can use Google Gemini for creating or generating a recipe. Like here in this case, we are passing this image to our Gemini model and then asking Gemini model to provide the recipe for the item which is present in the image. So to run this prompt, you can simply click on this run button and you will be able to see the response here in just a second. So there you can see the recipe is being generated, and firstly it told you the ingredients, and after that we got the instructions and then the detailed instructions. So that's how you can use Google Gemini for creating a recipe. So here you might have a question that you can do the same thing using the official Gemini website. But what is the use of this prompt gallery provided in Google AI Studio? And the answer for this thing is here for prompt examples, you are also getting the code. So here after running the prompt, when you will click on this get code, you will see this dialog. And here you will find the instructions for making the similar request in different platforms. Like here you can see Python is selected. So in Python, if you want to do the similar request, you need to write this code. And if you want to do the same inside Android Kotlin, then you will find the instructions here. And same is the case for this Swift and JavaScript. And at this moment, the support for Dart or Flutter is not added, but it will be added soon. So you will be able to see a Flutter section, and when you will click on it, you will find the instructions for making the similar request in Flutter. And to do that, they will be using the official package. And there you can see we also got this curl section, and here you will find the instructions to make similar requests using the raw API. So as now for Flutter, Python, Android, Swift or any other platform, we have seen the use of a library for using features of Google Gemini. But if you want to use Google Gemini using the raw API or using the URL, then you will gonna find the instructions here that you can hit this URL, and then in the header you can pass this content. And after that in the body you need to pass this data, which is our question, and then our image in a base64 format. And after hitting that API you will be able to get the response. So that is the main use of Google AI Studio prompt gallery, that you can get the code for different types of requests which you can make using Google Gemini. Similarly, let's move back to our prompt gallery again and here explore something else. Like there you can see we got this game character brainstorm, so let's open it. And there you can see our question for the model is write a character design in a pirate themed game set in the chosen area. So here when we are going to pass this question, the output will be similar to this one. That the model is suggesting that the main character for the game should be a female and the name should be this. And after that it is providing the detail about the appearance of that character, and then the personality details, skills, background and so on. And now if you want to see how you can make a similar request in Python, Android or using the raw API, you can click on this get code and read the instructions here. But this thing will be more usable for Flutter developers once the Flutter section will be added. But now in this lecture we have explored prompt gallery, and using prompt gallery you can learn that how you can get the maximum output or how you can ask questions from Gemini models correctly to get efficient and correct output. Welcome to this lecture. In this lecture we are going to start working on the GUI of our Gemini application. So at this point inside our application, we are simply asking a question from Gemini model and then showing the response to the user on screen in this text widget. But now we are going to beautify the GUI, that the question that we are asking and the answer from the model will both gonna appear just like a professional chat application. Similarly, we are also going to beautify this bottom bar where user can type his question and then send it. And actually we are going to start working on the GUI from this bottom bar. So firstly we are going to beautify this button and this bar, and later we are going to display our questions and the answers from the Gemini model just like any other chat application. So let's begin. So we are going to start by improving the look of this send button. So right now it is just a simple icon where user can click. But now we are going to make this button circular so that it will gonna appear just like a professional send button inside a chat application. So inside our build method we got the code for this icon or button here. So right now we are using this inkwell widget for detecting that when the user is clicking on this icon. But now we are going to replace this inkwell widget with an elevated button. So elevated button is a widget for creating buttons in Flutter. And when we use this elevated button, it provides us a method called onPressed. So there you can see this method. So replace this on tab with onPress and the error will be gone. So now after making the change, press Command S. And there you can see the look of this button is changed. But now we want to make this button circular, and to do that we are going to set the style property for this elevated button. So style, and here we are going to specify it using this elevated button dot style from function. And now inside this function, to specify or make our button rounded, we are going to specify this shape property. And as we want to make our button circular, so we are going to pass circular border here. So after doing this, press Command S. And now you can see our button is now circular. But after making this button circular, let's change its color. So let's say we want to make this button blue. So here we are going to set the background color property. And then to specify the color, we are going to use this colors class. And now let's move this background to a new line so that we can see it clearly. And here to specify a blue color, you can simply type blue and then select it. And after that, press Command S. And now you can see our button is blue. But there you can notice that after changing the color, our icon is not clearly visible. So let's change the icon color inside this icon widget. So here set the color property and make our icon white. So colors.white. And then hot reload the application. And there you can see now this button is looking better. So now after making this button circular and also changing the color of the icon, we are going to work on the GUI of our text field. So we are going to make this text field rounded as well, and also going to hide this line because this is not looking good. So here you can see we got this expanded widget which contains this text field, and now we want to beautify it. But before doing that, let's format our code so that things will gonna appear properly. So now to make this text field rounded, we are going to enclose it inside a card widget. So click on this text field and then press Alt plus Enter, and after that select Wrap with Widget. And now the widget which we are going to use is this card widget. So after selecting it, press Command S. And now you can see a background color or a shadow is added for this text field. And after adding this card widget, we are going to set the shape of this card. And to specify the shape, we are going to use a class called rounded rectangle border. And then inside this class, we are going to specify a property called border radius. And using this border radius, we can make the corners of this card rounded. So border radius dot circular. And here you need to specify the radius to make the corner circular. Like here we can specify 25. Now press Command S. And there you can see the corners are more circular now. Similarly, let's change the color of this card widget. So here I am going to add a color property and select white color here. So colors.white. And there you can see the color turned white. So now after making this text field circular, we need to hide this line because it is not looking good. And to hide it, we need to set the decoration property for this text field. And here we are going to use this input decoration class. And inside it, we need to set this border property. And to specify no border, you need to use this input border.none. And this will basically going to remove this border. So after doing that, press Command S. And there you can see now the line is gone. And here for this text field, you can notice that the text is to attach with the borders. So to handle it, what you can do is to enclose this text field inside a padding widget. And it will gonna add a padding between this card and this text field. So here click on this text field and then select this wrap with padding. After that, press Command S. And now you can see the text is separated from the border a little, but the height of this text field is increased and it is not looking good. And the reason is the padding widget added a padding of 8 on all sides, but we only want to add the padding to the left and to the right side. So here what we can do is to use this only function and then specify the padding for the left and right only. So left equal to 8 and right equal to 8. And that's it. So now you can see this text field and button is looking much better as compared to their previous look. But there we can still do some improvements. Like you can notice that the size of this button is small as compared to the height of this text field. So to increase it, you can set the padding property for our elevated button, and it will gonna add a padding and increase the size of this button. So here set the padding, and we are going to specify it using edge insets. So edge insets dot all, and after that we are going to add a padding of 10 on all sides. Now press Command S, and there you can see the size of this button is increased a little. Similarly, you can notice that the side of this text field is too attached with the left corner. So to handle it, we need to add some margin for this text field. Or what you can do is to add some padding or margin for this row widget so that it will be separated from the boundary. So here what we can do is to enclose this row widget inside a padding widget. And after that we are going to add a padding of 5 on all sides. Now press Command S, and there you can see things are separated from the boundaries a little. So now this text field and this button is looking much better. And after working on the GUI of these things, the next step is working on our chat layout. Hello guys, Hamza here. I just want to let you know that this video is just the first part of my complete Flutter and Google Gemini build smart AI powered applications for Flutter course. The complete course is about 4 hours long, and it includes all source code that we write in this course. Every section has before and after source code, so you can easily code along with me. Apart from that, you will get a certificate upon completion which you can add to your resume. And the course comes with a 30 days money back guarantee. So if you are not satisfied, just simply ask for a refund. So if you are interested, I will put a link down below, and we are offering a discount to first 100 students. And now let's continue to the next lecture.